Yeah, Coach Kiff is doing a great job with that group. See a guy like Taven, who's veteran with experience, come into our system, learning our styles and our techniques and what Coach Kiff wants at the position. Really impressive with his get off, his ability to disrupt and penetrate. Perrion, same deal. He's growing. He's getting better every day. And then, been really impressed with Jordan. He's third year. He's got more and more of an understanding of the techniques and of the systems and what he can do on the field to make plays. And those guys have been really impressive. So proud of how they're working.
Chris mentioned a couple times about Jordan return to Cleveland after last season. Kind of a change player. Can you just kind of describe that transformation you've seen out of him?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, his confidence, his knowledge of what he has to do. I think it just comes with experience. I think it's typical for, some of these defensive linemen, D tackles in particular, when they get in the league, there's a growth period, there's a maturity period just from understanding the game and the techniques and doing things over and over and over again. And, it's, when you're entering your third year with all the experience he's had, it's showing. So I think it's just a natural progression for most players, and I'm really, really proud of him and encouraged by what he's doing.
They talk a lot about the quarterbacks in this division, but this is a really good running back division.
Sure it is.
Tell me about the challenge that this division presents that maybe you don't see elsewhere in the league.
I mean, there's great coaches, great players, and I think you mentioned the quarterbacks. They're all really good, right? And the running backs are too. So I think the challenge is you have to defend the run and the pass, depending on the situation of the game, of course, right? But I guess my point is, like, you start a game, it's 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 7. You got to be in coverages that can handle the pass game. You have to be in fronts that can handle the run game. You have to, if you're going to pressure, your pressures need to be sound versus both. So it's a great challenge, and it's why we love to play and coach.
We talked to Jacob Phillips not too long ago, Coach, and he said he felt like he really got some good football in after the injury last year. Have you seen him kind of pick that up starting this year? Just what have you seen out of him so far in camp?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob is, he's fast, he's instinctive, he's competitive, he's a student of the game. So he's playing fast, he's not overthinking things. He asks really good questions when he makes mistakes or doesn't do something perfect. We coach him. Coach Tarver tells him, what we want, how we want it to be, and he gets better and he improves. So again, you're seeing a player in his third season, with more experience, more understanding of the game that can keep improving and take his game to a higher level.
Kind of like maybe a bigger philosophical question. Just when you look at linebackers like Jacob and Jeremiah and even Anthony, that's just not how it was even 10, 15 years ago. And Coach Woods mentioned he wants the linebackers to be like the prey that they hunt, quick,
sure,
fast, like running backs. Just talk about that evolution and why you think specifically those three guys are the perfect body types for what you guys want to do.
Yeah, I think Coach Woods, that is one of his sayings. So, and it's dead on. I couldn't say it better, so I won't. But yeah, I think everyone knows the game is a little more spread out than it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever number you want to put on it. So whether you're playing zone coverage as a linebacker, you're playing in space, right, or man coverage, you're still playing in space. So at the end of the day, when the ball's thrown or the ball's handed off, there's going to be a lot of situations where you got to tackle somebody one-on-one in space. You're going to have to close distance. You're going to have to react. So you need athletes that can do that, and those guys in different ways because they're their own men and their own type of players. Anthony, Jeremiah, and Jacob, they all can do those things. So that being said, in our division, sometimes they're going to put two tight ends in the field and a fullback and a running back, and you're going to have to defend those, bigger runs. So you're going to have to do some of the stuff that was more prevalent 15, 20 years ago. That stuff hasn't gone away either. And those guys, they can do all that stuff. So we're lucky to have them.
Talk about it a bit, right, with that question, Matt's question. When you say speed, I think coverage first.
Right.
But is it also as important against the run for the linebackers to have that speed to be able to chase those guys down and do whatever they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you watch the games, there's more perimeter run, more space run, more wide zone type runs that you're going to have to use your speed to track down the ball. So yeah, obviously the obvious, but is in the pass game, but the run game, or sometimes you got to chase down fast quarterbacks in space. You've seen us have to do that in our division. So, yeah, I mean, I think it applies to the run game too.
How about the couple of rookies and Alex and Isaiah? How do you think they've done as far as setting the edge for the run game?
Yeah, I mean, again, Coach Kiff's done a terrific job with those guys. You know, he's really introduced our style of play and how we set the edge and the physicality we play with and the techniques we play with. And, you know, there's some veteran guys like Miles and Jadeveon that do it. So those young guys have listened to the coaching and seen the way the vets do it, and they've done a nice job. They're both long guys. They're both physical. You know, they both played competitive college football, you know, so they get better every day, and they've done some nice things in practice in the first preseason game. It's really encouraging to see that.
Who's sitting on a big year? You had to pick one.
The whole defense. We're sitting on a big year.
I knew that answer was coming. Who in the linebacker group is sitting on a big year?
We're all sitting on a big year. I'm excited about everybody. That's a great question, but we're sitting on a big year as a group because I don't really think it matters who goes out there. We're going to play multiple guys. We're going to rotate. Guys are at different points of their career, but I think everyone's primed to, you know, play really well. You know, we know what to do. We know how to do it. We just got to, you know, have the mental toughness to do it every day.
Where do you feel like the run defense specifically needs to improve the most? Is it a specific position? Is it, you know, philosophically? Where do that improvement have to be this year from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave up some big plays last year, and, you know, we've addressed those things, and we're practicing them, and it's not really one person in particular. It's more of depending on the coverage. Are we in zone? Are we in man? Are we in two shell? Are we in single high? Which way's the pressure going, right? What's the coverage behind the pressure? Just everyone understanding their job. And then within that, I think it's really important on certain runs. It's like, you know, the Sam, the Mike, and the safety may be fitting the run all together in the same part of the defense, if that makes sense. So understanding kind of how we're all working together so we can play a little more direct, a little more confident, a little faster. So I think it's just us playing together as a group better.
Joe mentioned earlier, he talked about JOK and, you know, made some of his biggest plays kind of while freelancing a little bit. You obviously want him to kind of stay within the system, but how much do you kind of balance that? The big plays kind of coming where he's freelancing, but also, you know, keep him within structure.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a really instinctive football player that has the ability to make, you know, big plays, splash plays, negative plays for the offense, you got to give them the ability to do that, and certainly Jeremiah has that ability. You know, that being said, you just got to be honest with the player. Like, that worked here right now, okay? If they ran one of these three other plays, this is where you got to be. Are you good with that? Yes. And then, so guys got to understand the context of his job, what gap he has, you know, relative to the front and the coverage and the play, and then just go play fast. And at the end of the day, we got to run, shed, and tackle the guy with the ball. That's what Coach Tarver always says. So if he's doing those things, let's keep playing, let's keep hitting the ball. But, you know, obviously the context within the system is important too.
Are there days when it's 95 and JOK comes out in long sleeves and long pants? And you're like, what are you doing? I don't think I've seen a practice without having like a hoodie.
Some guys like to sweat, you know. It helps you get warm faster. I don't know. I wear long sleeves every day. Not the pants, but not that you're looking at what I'm wearing. But, yeah, I don't overanalyze very much the attire. I got other stuff to worry about. But whatever helps him play well, I'm all in.
A lot of people talk about Grant and JJ3 at the safety spot, but it seems like Ronnie's sort of sometimes the forgotten man. Tell me where you've seen improvement out of him from last year.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie's played a lot of different roles in our defense, and he's done a really good job with all of them. He's a talented guy. You know, you watch his college tape, he did different jobs in that defense at Alabama. So he's always been a guy that, as a safety, could play, you know, on the edges or inside the box, depending on the coverage and the call. He's just an instinctive guy. He's physical. He's got long arms. He's tough, you know. So, He's not forgotten for me, you know. I mean, I really appreciate what Ronnie does for our defense. He's made a lot of big plays, and I know I can count on him to do those things, run or pass. So, you know, you're really fortunate when you got a guy who's versatile like him.
Does a wide open kind of nature of college football in most conferences make it the transition to the NFL, stopping the run, more difficult for the younger guys than maybe pass coverage kind of thing?
You know, I just think it's what you've been exposed to. You know, by and large, most college football is more wide open. We do see a lot of those things in the NFL now too. So, like, some of that is not new for those guys, and they do run out of those formations also, right? So, some of the more condensed stuff with multiple tight ends or multiple backs, that might be new for some of them. Now, guys that played in, like, you know, the Pac-12, like Stanford does that. You know, Wisconsin does stuff like that. So it depends on kind of who you played. Just how we like to teach our run defense in terms of our alignments and our responsibilities, try to just build that in really early. So when you get these two-back runs that you might not have seen before, you kind of have a set of rules that you can apply, and then we practice them. You know, we walk through them, we practice them. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are football players. Once they know what they got to do, they play fast, they go, and there's kind of the thinking goes away, and we're just playing, which is what we want as coaches.
Ben, there's some continuity here that hasn't been here in a long time. Have you seen that show up in any specific area?
I mean, I can only speak for what I do day to day the most. I mean, our defensive staff is pretty much the same from the last, 3 seasons. It makes your job easier, I think, as a coach when you've worked with guys before. You don't have to have all these preliminary conversations. We understand how we've done things in the past. We've coached together before. We know each other better. So I think things are more seamless, for us. That being said, we have to, work and stay detailed and be on top of our P's and Q's and all those things. But, it's a nice benefit, and I appreciate the guys I work with. They make my job easier.
I think players' standpoint, like 9 guys last year in the defense were new. Most of those guys are back. So does that make things easier?
Sure. I mean, I noticed, in OTAs, once most of the guys were here, just as we kind of just threw stuff at them, scheme-wise, and then we're doing walkthroughs, and this is what the offense of play is. And it might have been a difficult play for us last year, but the guys kind of remember the corrections. We've done it well at least once or twice in the game, hopefully. So it's kind of like, okay, this isn't brand new again. Sometimes a little bit of a learning curve or like a reacclimation. But, yeah, that's been nice with our players. And it's credit to them for their professionalism and, them staying dialed in.
What's year 2 with Jadeveon been like?
What's that?
What's year 2 with Jadeveon been like? Year 2 with Jadeveon.
Oh, Jadeveon's like really fun to be around. I mean, he's got a lot of personality, a lot of energy. You could tell he enjoys playing football. He enjoys like having success and winning on the football field. So, him just doing that every day and being himself has been awesome. It's bringing energy to the group and, giving us, allowing us to have some fun, while we're out here. So I appreciate his ability to work and have fun at the same time.